Welcome to another video, to another Photoshop tutorial, and today we're going to talk again about color grading. Last week I made a video about color grading. Many of you like it. I like it too because I do not exist if you don't like the video. So I think many of you want to actually explore more about color grading, actually get the messages to do more videos on color grading. So that's why I'm coming to you, and we're going to work with this great image of tea that I took last week when I was wandering around Hong Kong. I didn't know the girl. I just saw her and I asked, can I take a few pictures of you? And luckily she agreed and she was happy to pose. And because of that, we got some of the really nice looking with specific mood images. And I do hope you like it. So if you like it, make sure you will go to my Instagram. You drop a like, you drop a follow, so whatever you like, but you can see most of the images there, so make sure to check it out. You can see what I'm doing on a daily basis here in Hong Kong. I do some landscapes, I do some people's portraits, but we're gonna take care of this image specifically today. And what I want to talk is this edit I did. It's color edit. Of course, I cleaned up this image before, but then I did this specific color grading, and many people seems to like it. I do like it. It's great mood. So few information at the very beginning how to work with this sort of image that I have to tell you about. You see, most of the people, not even most of the people, all of the people have the orange skin tone. No matter how white you are, no matter how black you are, the skin tone is always orange. Sometimes there is more light, less light, etc., less or more saturation as well, but it's always orange, which means that the person will always look on the blue background. And this is sort of what I try to achieve here for someone who want to achieve something more. I'm going to show you how to work on the image. It looked already great, but it didn't have the colors, that specific colors. So I want to show you how you can get from this to this final results, how to work nicely with colors, no matter on which image you are working, because I'm just showing you my steps I did, and you can apply the same steps or similar steps with different adjustments that you will be happy with. So let's remove everything and we'll start from very beginning. So this video might be a little bit longer because, well, I can make 5 minutes videos for you. But the point is I want to give you some actual knowledge that you might use anytime, that you might use it in more creative way than just copying the steps. So first of all, we are going to work with the highlights. And the way to work with the highlights best way to work with the highlights will always be curves. So create a curve adjustment layer. I'm going to name this H as the highlights because we want to work with the highlights. It's pretty dark now, so I want to make it stand out. The best way to stand out, to make image stand out, are the lights. So select the mask, because if you want to work selectively with the image, you will always be working with mask. If you are not selective, as you can see, it's easy to blow up the image. It doesn't look nice. So work selectively with masks, and in this video you will see how to work really selectively with masks, because we'll do a lot of this. So first step will be, I'm going to image, apply image, and I want to create the mask for the highlights. So once you go to the apply image, you will have pure highlight layer mask. The total opposite will be all the shadows, so this is the highlights. If you will see the same settings over here, for example, I see layer as a merge. That's pretty standard settings. If you are not changing anything here, that will stay as a merge. If it's not merge, what you need to do, open this and hit merge. Other blending can be multiply, can be, I believe, darker, can be normal. So as long as all of the, maybe not normal necessarily, but as long as there is multiply, that will be the right layer. If you will want to work with the shadows, you will press invert. But we'll start with the highlights. I always start with the highlights, so that's pretty standard setting. Let's hit OK. And finally, at this point, we have this layer mask. You can press outer option. You can see how it looks like, and you can see it actually, we got the perfect selection of the highlights. So thanks to this, we'll be able to manipulate with lights without overdoing anything, without going into the shadows, without blowing too much. So this is the right way to do. Let's go back and I'm going to increase the curve quite much, I believe, for this image. Not gonna go down with the shadows too much here, because that would be too much. And what you can see at this point is the image got a little bit more saturated. And the reason for that is normal blending mode. You see, we want to work on it with the lights. So change blending mode to luminosity, because, well, if you increase the lights, no matter how, it will always increase the saturation value. It will always change the color. So if you want to exclude the color, you will change blending mode to luminosity. And the next step will be actually toning the image. So I want to add some natural tones to the image, already trying to get into the direction of the warmer shadows, because our model is more into the shadows, and colder highlights. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make selection out of this, press Command and hit on this layer, and I'm going to color balance. I'm going to name this age as well, but this time will be highlights, but the color. And I'm actually going to duplicate this once again, so I'm going to press Command and J to duplicate, and another layer will be S like shadows. But then what I'm doing, because selection is obviously done for highlights, so I'm going to press Command or Control and I to invert this. So finally we have two layers. One will be for shadows, for shadow color grading, and the other will be selectively for highlight color grading. So let's start with highlights. But well, before we start, it's another issue with the blending modes. Is this time, if we'll be doing some color grading with blending mode normal, we'll be affecting the lights, not only colors. So if you don't want to affect the lights, you change blending mode to color. So very simple to remember. If you're working with lights, better to change this to luminosity blending mode to not affect the colors. If you work with color, change it to color to not affect the luminosity values. And let's go to the highlights. So you could ask a question, if I'm working with color balance and working with highlights, why I'm actually need the selections? You don't need the selections, but if you want to make sure you make it everything clear in the range it's supposed to be, I do recommend to make layer masks like that. And maybe you don't like working with the color balance, so then it would really be helpful if you go with curves, for example, which would be very similar, but then you really need the masks to make it selective. So highlights, and for highlights I would go more with the cyan color here. I would also go with blue, but maybe not necessarily for this image. If that would be a little different, I would probably add a little bit more blue. But this one, as you can, cyan do absolutely great job. The another will be shadows, and this time, well, it's a little cold. I would warm up her skin tones a little, so I would go a few points for the reds, and also maybe some yellows, because we don't want her to be just red. And you can see nice change, nice warm skin tones. So this is the first step we did, very basic toning. You can use it if you don't want to change as many parts as me. I was working with the sky and everything. This is basically the toning I do. I work with the shadows and highlights, and I use color balance to achieve what I want. Okay, but we have the sky that could be matching much better for this image if it would have colder color. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another color balance, and I'm going to name this as the sky. And what we're going to do, we're going to select layer mask, and I'm going to select and color range, which allows you to work even more selectively in specific area I really like. So we have sampled colors. I was already doing this, which you can see here. But basically you go with the sampled colors, you choose eyedropper, and in this case, I need to have good selection for the sky and harbor. So what I'm doing, I'm pressing here. So okay, I got nice selection of the sky. I'm going the plus, and I'm going this side of the sky, and maybe some of the harbor here, and also some of the harbor here. And once I got this, I'm gonna hit OK. And of course, you make sure you will set up the right fuzziness and range and all of this stuff. And what I need to do after, because this range also affected some part of the models, as you can see, her sport bra, some of the roof. So we actually have to mask it all out. So I'm masking it all out with the black color It was a little lagging to me. Well, I think I did too much. Don't go too far. Actually, it's better to not like go less than far. And I'm just masking what's supposed to not change the color. So obviously the roof here is supposed to stay as it is. Orange, you don't want to add any blue color. That would be a very weird combination if we add inside the orange color some blue color. So I'm actually trying to mask it a little. And of course more of the model, so on the face, her glasses, and that should be enough. So this is a little harsh transition at the moment that we have this mask. So I'd actually blur this out, but also not too much, because if we blur this too much, we might get some halo effect on the edge. So I'd blur this maybe like 8 pixels. Let's see if that's 8 pixels is rather soft. So I think that would be okay, maybe even 6. It depends on like what's your needs and if you don't want to achieve the halo effect. And that's very important. So for the sky, this is basically highlights and midtones. That's where the sky is. So I would start with the midtones at first. Add some of the cyan and some of the blue color. So basically what it's do, as you can see, background already gets more bluish. Also the highlights. Some of the cyan, some of the blue colors. A little less. I actually want to go in between 5 and 7, but I couldn't get the 6 right. That's quite blue. Maybe 5 will do. Blending mode is normal. You can also change this to color, because it actually, as you can see, it was darkening this. And we can even darker this. I do like this color. I don't know if that would be right, if that's too dark, but if you can want to get a little bit more details from the sky, what you could do, you could go to curves and actually darken this a little, just a little. Because if you do more, as you can see, the halo effect is here, which is not nice ever. So I'm doing this very soft. Sky darker. Remember, halo effect is mad. You don't want this. So this looks quite good. And I would close this as my tuning. So I will call this tones. And the other part will be making some special mood, because what created these special colors on the image was the mood I was trying to add. And this will be sort of, well, it will be, I won't copy everything that was there. I will try to apply similar things to this image to show you how to achieve that. So there might be some small differences with the colors, but the atmosphere will be actually the same. So first of all, what I did there, I used solid color, which I understand, it's weird. Let's name this color. And let's change the opacity, maybe to like 10 at the moment. So this actually washed out this image a little, and you can see every different color you can apply, it gives some sort of atmosphere. So if we go with this yellowish, bluish, this is the atmosphere we were about to do. Maybe a little lower hue, maybe down this level. So we have this sort of color of the seaweed, I would call it, and I would go around this amount. I just need to be careful, because the more color you add, you might also change the blacks on the image. So like her yoga pants in this case, for example, could get a little dark. So be really careful for it. You don't want to change the colors that's supposed to not be changed. So I would go around this level of saturation and luminosity. Let's have a look. We could probably even apply a little bit more, but I also want to be careful on the black color. So what I would do here, maybe I would go with the hue saturation. I will name this as a pants, and I will try to see if I can make selection of the black color to get it back simply. Sampled colors, and I think it does work. We'll have to do some of the work, but it will do. So let me mask everything except the pants, which will be basically our model. A little bit here, the roof as well. So thanks to this, we know the image will be clear and will still preserve the natural colors in the area that they have to be preserved. So thanks to this, when someone will see the final result, they will not think, well, that's not how the black yoga pants looks like, because we fixed it. So if we go this way, well, it makes it even darker. So I think we need to actually take down some hue. Are we? This one, I think this way, or more green, right? Yeah, so let's go down. Yeah, down this way. And also we might take down some of the greens, take down some saturation from the greens and try to manipulate with hue again. So we actually took down what was here. We can use the same method and apply, for example, some opposite color. So before I do it, let me blur out this layer for better transition. So filter blur, Gaussian blur. This time I will let myself for a little bit more. Let's blur it at 20 pixels. And I'm gonna copy this and I'm going to use color balance, or it could be curves or anything. I name this correction 1, and we can just add opposite color to the blue and opposite color to the cyan. And as you can see, they get in more. Like, if you can go more, but you want to be careful. That was actually mid-tones, so we couldn't reach too far. So we could go with the shadows and do similar thing, and I think it will help more. Sorry for the sound. Just touched something. Okay. That might be too much. So I'm gonna lower the percentage here. So that was quite painful, but let's name this as a corrections. Wasted some times, but well, if you want good results, that costs some of your effort as well. And now we're going to add some of the matte color. I want this image to have this matte atmosphere, and there's a few simple ways to do it. You can use levels, and you can simply cut them out a little. So let's see. I believe I wrote it right. So for example, if we cut out the black color from one side and the white color from the other side, so now we don't really have the pure white color and pure black color, and then change blending point to luminosity, we might actually get sort of, you can see the outcome is quite matte in this case. Of course, I'm not gonna do it that strong, and well, it wasn't even necessary. But now, in case you don't know how to do matte color, now you actually know. And well, it's still quite bright in the shadows, so what I would do here, I would correct these things with the curves. Shadows, and I'm just going to grab the curve a little bit, lower it down. Shadow area. Oh, that's a little much, so I'm going to lower opacity, and now it's perfect. And also what I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a little bit blue for shadows. From what I see, it would give us nicer effect, and maybe just the touch of green for shadows, but not too much. And I think it does look really great at the moment. Like, I'm going to put this, I'm going to the group, and I'm going to name this mood, and let's see how after toning our mood changed. So this image looked really clear before crispy, sunny, but we wanted this cold mood on the image. That was the point. So it might be a little dark and have too much of the haze, which is very easy to do in final steps, that I'm going to recover things and give you the final result that you are waiting for. So at the end, I always work with camera, and the best way to do this, we always want to work on the top layer and to work non-destructively. So we'll work with the smart object. So I'm going to create a stamp on the top, which I'm going to press Command, Alt or Option, Shift and E. That gives you top layer. That's like merge all of the layers on top and put this on the top. We might name this stamp or final, so I can just name this final. I'm going to press Control, hit on this and convert to smart object. So like we always work with the smart object because we want to work non-destructively. So you can come back every time to this. If there's some settings that are not right, you might just come back anytime. You might adjust them, you make it better. So let's go to camera filter. First of all, I'm lacking some contrast here, so I'm going to increase some contrast. I'm going to increase the highlights as well strongly. Let's go full with highlights here. And what else we could actually do here? I think this part is okay. Do you want some clarity? You might actually add some clarity, but be careful with that. This is like I'm letting myself be quite flexible, so you can see what's secure to do, what's not secure to do here. And then I like to go to hue, saturation, and grayscale, which is basically working with the color. So for example, if you want to make aquas more blues, simply just drag it to different directions. I'm not gonna do this because I was setting up this before to have this exact color, so I'm not gonna do this here. Also the skin tones, easy to go. You won't go this way, but you might go more into this way to correct the skin tones to make it better. I think the previous image was more saturated, but I usually take down saturation. In this case, I think I might let myself to increase it a little bit, but I will do this at the very end. And luminance, you can also decrease the luminance on the blue and cyan to get the effect that we want. So that darker sky, obviously it was not too much. I like it brighter now actually than it was before. I think before was maybe a little too dark, so now I'm not going that far. I think before I went like around 50 for each. And also very rare, but for my personal photography, I sometimes do work with the split toning. So we're working for highlights with some cold ones around cyan, so I'm gonna add more of the cold tones for the highlights, but I'm gonna add some warm tones for the shadows here, around the same maybe. And I was saying to you that I might actually work with some saturation, but I think I'm not gonna increase because this setting helped me with it. What I could do here, should I increase highlights? Should I increase some? I think it's rather fine. I could come back anytime and do it. Maybe just one touch of the exposure, and I think it does look as it's supposed to look. Let's see if, do you think the stronger saturation works? I think maybe just like really small touch of it, so the model actually stands out, and that would be around it. I don't want to go too far, I don't want to make it too bright, and this is like very simple way how I did the image that you've seen before, and I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this. Name this edit we did right now. So this was before the edit we did. It still looks nice, it has different atmosphere, and this is the color grading that I applied. So I changed the atmosphere a little bit, and I do believe that this atmosphere looks so much better on this specific image. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video and any other video that you decided to watch on this channel. Make sure you check the link in the description. Make sure you will check the credits check the Instagram, check my Instagram, and I will try to make more videos for you, obviously. This might be weekly video because I'm actually preparing a much bigger thing. I'm gonna prepare another premium course, which might be my best course I ever did. This will be lingerie and swimwear, so there will be a lot of skin retouching, absolutely huge information. The best course for sure I did. If someone wants to explore the skin retouching, we will do the skin color grading, like separately, how to do this, how to work with the contrast on the skin. That will be really huge source of the information, with, of course, professional images provided for you, not only taken by professional photographer, but with the model from the agency. So that will be one of the best trainings that will be done on the subject. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a like, subscribe, follow social media. Check out the description for the credits for my courses, for the Instagram, for my Instagram, and I'm going to see you next time. Thank you.